This is KGW News at sunrise.
The first thing I noticed was you could hear the trees snapping. I'm not sure how big they were.
A small tornado hitting Battleground yesterday. Coming up this morning, we'll get a look at the aftermath of this storm.
Also this morning, we'll look at new research that confirms thinning forests can help keep wildfires from burning out of control. And it also shows the importance of preventing these fires with fire. Plus,
I really want a nice small rockfish. We're gonna pair it with a sauce made out of seaweed, and that's a seaweed that we're gonna use fresh and that actually is in the waters here.
Yeah, we're taking a Top Chef fishing this morning. Chef Sarah and I jump in a boat down in Port Orford, Oregon, and she wants us all to eat more sustainable seafood. You're gonna check out the recipe she came up with that you can eat on special this week. Good morning to you on this very rainy Tuesday.
Yes, it is. Rodney Hill, I know you have a lot to talk about here this morning, so let's get right to it.
I want to get you right to the radar, so take a look at this. We still have an active thunderstorm threat out there this morning. Now, in the past couple of hours, we've seen a few cells. We have one now popping lightning strikes up here north of Lincoln City. There's Nesquin right there, and there's some active lightning in the area. Meanwhile, you move inland and look at Salem. I am here to tell you there's no lightning associated with what you're getting right now, but this is very heavy rain. Silverton, you're just getting in the meat of that. And then up in Clark County, where we had that tornado last evening between 7:10 and 7:20, it's just a gentle but steady rain falling for you right now. The thunderstorm threat goes into early this afternoon. After that, the showers will start to decrease, and this rain event will end tonight. That's your forecast for now.
All right, Rod, thank you so much. Let's talk about that small tornado that was seen in Battleground yesterday. This is video from weather photographer Tyler Mode. You can kind of see it forming there in the sky around 7 o'clock last night. Then the storm gets a little closer and it moved right in front of his camera.
The first thing I noticed was you could hear the trees snapping, and I'm not sure how big they were and where exactly they were falling. And then in the video, you can see the wind pick up very dramatically.
Yeah, that'd be a little scary to witness, right? There are no reports of major damage, but our photographer found a lot of branches down and one large tree that fell into some power lines. The National Weather Service again has confirmed it was a weak tornado and says it's got multiple reports of wind damage across Battleground. They'll have a report coming out later today. Health officials are starting to see COVID cases linked to the Pendleton Roundup, which just wrapped up over the weekend in eastern Oregon. Umatilla County reported 550 infections last week and 151 suspected cases from the weekend. So far, they've tied 44 of those cases to the Pendleton Roundup. Most are in Umatilla County, and some of them are from Wallowa County.
A Washington State trooper who died from COVID is being honored. Trooper Eric Gunderson died at a Portland hospital over the weekend. And yesterday, first responders escorted his remains from Oregon to a funeral home in Lakewood, Washington. He led the state.
He's a good man who lost his life serving his state. Let's lay this good man to rest, and let's honor his family by honoring their request for not politicizing his loss, but simply remembering his service and grieving his loss.
It's believed that Trooper Gunderson got COVID while he was on a work trip, and because of that, this is considered a death in the line of duty. His family is choosing to keep his vaccination status private. Trooper Gunderson was 38 years old.
Now to politics, where the fight over new congressional and legislative boundaries in Oregon is over for now. Lawmakers approved the changes yesterday on a nearly party line vote. They had until midnight last night to vote, or it would go to the Secretary of State and judges to make the decision. House Democrats unveiled a new congressional map on Saturday. Oregon has a new 6th district after the latest census numbers. Republicans accuse Democrats of maneuvering to ensure 5 of the 6 seats go to Democrats.
We have focused on accurately reflecting how Oregon's population has grown, starting with utilizing population centers that saw the most growth in the last decade, and ensuring that all Oregonians have meaningful representation in Congress, no matter our race, faith, or zip code.
Senate Bill 881 is a perfect example of the supermajority pretending to care, while sitting comfortably in the knowledge that they rigged the system to win. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Lawmakers also approved the boundaries for the legislative districts. 2 Democrats voted no with Republicans. Governor Brown has until midnight to sign the bills into law.
Over the last few years, wildfires in the Pacific Northwest have gotten bigger and they've gotten more powerful.
But new research shows even just thinning the forest does make a big difference. The Oregon State University study focused on a ponderosa pine forest in Northeast Oregon. They compared a thinned stand of trees with a controlled stand that was unthinned. Then they used computer modeling to predict the behavior of future fires.
Most fuel reduction projects in Eastern Oregon thin from below. They cut down the smaller trees and leave the old, large, fire-resistant trees. They leave behind a forest that's less dense, and our studies show it has less fuel to burn in future fires.
That's forest ecologist James Johnston. He also says some prescribed burning is even better, but he says those controlled burns aren't happening nearly as much as they should.
Back in June, we took you into the Santiam State Forest, where about half the trees there burned last year during the Beachy Creek fire. But now, the oldest national nonprofit conservation organization in the U.S., American Forests, is donating just under $1 million to the Oregon Department of Forestry to help plant new trees.
That we probably need about 4 million trees. So this will cover about half of that.
So we're going to put 2 million trees back onto landscape in these fire scars, and especially in places where it's really hard for the agency to cover those expenses.
Replanting after fire of this scale is something that you really just can't budget for.
The grant money will also be used to fund research related to tree growth and climate change. The Department of Forestry plans to open most of the Santiam State Forest this Friday, October 1st, although most of the areas they'll open were not burned, and many of the popular burned out areas will remain closed. All right, Rob, we know one of the best ways to fight forest fires, right, is the rain. And that rain we're seeing a lot of course, over the last 24 to 48 hours.
You know, our chief meteorologist, Matt Safino, reporting a record for the day yesterday here in downtown Portland. KGW is the official reporting site, 1.62 inches. Now, keep in mind, typically the entire month of September does 1.52. We picked up more than that yesterday, and now we're over 3 inches even out at the airport for the month of September, which is 200% normal. So good gracious, right? What a wet end to our month. All right, earlier I showed you the radar. We've got rain in Portland. The biggest chunk of heavy rain is this batch that stretches from Dallas through Salem, now getting into Silverton. No storminess reported with this particular batch, but it is coming down in cats and dogs style. Here's the bigger radar, again, Clark County. We'll talk more about the tornado coming up at 5:38 this morning, including we'll take a look at the radar signature where that was the tornado confirmed by the Weather Service. That's coming up at 5:38. Here's Futurecast right now. 8:30 this morning, it still shows, you know, some heavy rain pockets. There's what could be a thunderstorm north of Newport. Now notice this afternoon, the showers, the specks on Futurecast become more widely scattered. So the storm chance ends once we get to early afternoon. The showers become more widely scattered. Will become dry tonight. Oh yeah, it's snowing up at Timberline. Remember, we expected this. It is 32 degrees up there currently. They could get 4, 5, 6 inches of snow up there today potentially. Here are the current temperatures. Most areas have a rain chance today. You see clouds holding temps out in eastern Oregon into the 40s. So low 60s for Salem. South winds breezy at times. Again, the storm chance into early afternoon, and then the showers overall decreasing this afternoon. Tomorrow's dry, 67. Just a weak system, maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain on Thursday. And I still think we have a big warm up going into the weekend. I have 83 on Sunday. Back to you.
All right, Rod, thank you so much. Hey, do you guys like fishing? What about road trips? Let's take one to the southern Oregon coast here on Sunrise, where the rockfish were practically jumping in the boat in Port Orford. You're going to see the special recipe from a Top Chef Portland star with her fresh catch. Plus, one squad is sitting near the top of the rankings. The other just pulled off a huge upset win. Coming up at 5:25, the early success that has Ducks and Beaver fans dreaming of a rivalry showdown for the ages. That's coming up on Sunrise.